All right, Ben, I want to talk about a personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. Maybe I have it because I thought I knew pretty much everything, and it turns out I know nothing about this disorder. So maybe you could fill me in a little bit on what it's all about.
Sure. So really popular personality disorder is narcissism. It's all over social media. But basically, a narcissistic personality disorder is someone who does no wrong. They're right, you're wrong. They walk around with that belief system. They're right, you're wrong. I'm okay, you're not. Um, Very, very controlling personality. Um, you're to blame for everything. Typically in a relationship or in a family system. Um, Everything they do is phenomenal, is great, and everything you do is not. And if they fail at something, quote unquote, fail at something, it's not their fault.
Mm.
They also are masters of gaslighting, making you believe that something's wrong with you. Very, very, very talented at creating a shame-based atmosphere where not only are you wrong, but like there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not built correctly.
Sure.
It can be very abusive. It can be downright nasty and hard for a person or a group to get away from a narcissist. And it's also just about incurable. In fact, let me just say this, that the research suggests that narcissists, antisocials too, which I know we'll talk about another time, but narcissists use therapy, typically traditional therapy, and actually to, like a predator, to gain information on their prey. So the research suggests that maybe traditional therapy is not working for them.
So you talked a little bit about how it manifests. I don't want to have you rehash that. I want to dig into the nurture versus nature sort of aspect of this.
Yep.
And two, what is the differentiator between a narcissist in the conventional sense, or as we might use it casually, and a disorder? So let's start with the first one. I know you could probably talk all day about this, but just to keep it brief.
Yeah.
Are we made into narcissists or are we born narcissists?
A good question. I lean pretty heavily into we're made into narcissists.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that a lot of it has to do with the messages that we receive as children, a belief system that we buy into at a very young age, who we're surrounded by, and the circumstances. So I give you an example. There's a term in psychology called spot urgency. And what spot urgency is that a person looks at something, a bag or a light or whatever, and they point at it and they get it. It's theirs now. They own it. And they've never heard the word no. That's in essence what I'm talking about, a spot urgency. So imagine that point, it's mine. And that could be a person too. I now own you. I now own this. And it doesn't matter the cost. It doesn't matter the consequences, because to a narcissist, cost is irrelevant, because they're greater than that, and consequences don't exist.
And so how would you differentiate a somebody with narcissistic personality disorder from just typical narcissist?
Yeah, I mean there are people that have traits of narcissism. I think, as leaders of SB, we may even have some traits of it. But I think, more to the point, it's a disorder when it interrupts the things that go on in normal day-to-day life. So, for example, you're in a relationship, and the other person is having just massive problems with you, communication issues. It's tumultuous. It's a roller coaster ride. The person physically might be, obsessed about the way that they look, changing their appearance, trying to get that, that perfect, that that perfection down. Sexually, they act out. They want to be Don Juan. All of that stuff. Spiritually, they're completely disconnected. There is God, and it's that person, right? And so all of that just accumulates into a narcissist. But a disorder is just, yeah. I mean, every teenager, male or female, has narcissistic traits.
Yeah.
Every single it has to do with being egocentric and your universe. And over time and space, that sort of naturally goes away, where you go, hey, wait a minute. There's other people here, and there's and what I do actually matters, and we impact people, and that's called empathy, of course.
So in recovery from substance abuse, we often, in my personal journey, talk about this concept of an egomaniac with an inferiority complex.
Yes.
So my question is there only one version of the truth for those that have narcissistic personality disorder, and that they are God, they are the best, etc.? Or if you find them at the right time, is there underlying that someone that feels deeply insecure and might be open and honest about that fact?
Very, very difficult. The answer to your question is yes. You can get to somebody. Typically, it may take some severe consequences.
Mm-hmm.
It may, and it may not. It's a illness and a disorder that I wouldn't wish on anyone.
Yeah. So you use the word practically incurable. I know you said that's sort of an exaggeration. Of course, we treat it,
yes,
and we do a really good job at it. But if I were to, I get what you're saying is that it's challenging because inherent in the therapeutic relationship is a big roadblock of narcissism. But how would you go about treating it?
So I would treat it, and maybe people would disagree with me, but I would get a narcissist to a place that they act as if, they've chosen to have a family, they've chosen to have children, they have a job. Can you act as if? Can you somehow come down from the mountain and interact with the normies and the lay people and the peasants, and sort of just blend in, can you, and I've had some success with that, especially with men, being able to act as if like they get on some level, they acknowledge that, okay, yeah, there's some things I need to do that will be helpful here. And again, they're still going to have a narcissistic viewpoint of it. Like, say, see what I'm doing. I'm being so generous to you. Okay, tolerable. But it's such a difficult disorder to treat.
So you can almost utilize the symptoms of the behavior to kind of, without them necessarily consciously knowing, and kind of put it back to them in a therapeutic way.
Correct. And then another way to do this is to really separate them from society. And I don't mean prison, although some end up in prison. I mean treatment, but very specific to behavior, changing their patterns, changing who they interact with, not allowing them to speak to their victims, and over several months. And when you do that, change potentially can occur.
Yeah. That was super helpful. I now know something I didn't 10 minutes ago. Thank you.